Welcome once again to FYI. I'm Barry Zivan, and I'm thrilled to say that my guests today, two of them, are Kathy Wurzer and Eric Escala, known to all of Minnesota, at least, and western Wisconsin, I'm sure, as the iconic broadcasters they are. Kathy is the hostess, I'm old-fashioned to say hostess, hostess of Morning Edition on Minnesota Public Radio, and also the co-host or hostess on TPT2's Almanac, one of the iconic shows, also not only in this state, but in this country.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And Eric Escala, the former Capitol reporter for WCCO Radio, and also, of course, the co-host of Almanac. I can't thank you enough for both of you for coming, because we're taping today on a Friday. And to the audience, they have to say, well, so what? Well, so what? That's a long day for you guys.
Well, you caught me on the one day that I dress up, so
Yes.
this is great.
Because Kathy, of course, you started, 4 in the morning?
Yes, early.
And,
Yeah.
and your night ends at 8 o'clock tonight?
8:01.
8:01, but who's counting?
Chinese food with Eric after that.
Oh, terrific.
Then we're done, yeah,
Well-
exactly. Well, we're pleased to be here.
Yeah, what a nice surprise to have you invite us. It's great.
Yeah, and speaking of iconic, I mean, come on.
Well,
Barry's a man.
God bless you. My honor, my pleasure. First, ladies first, have to say, Kathy, I know you're a Twin Cities native,
I am.
and it's very unusual, maybe it's not very unusual, but it's pretty unusual in the broadcast industry to have someone become a heroine, not the dope heroine, but heroine of broadcasting in her own hometown.
I am blessed. I am so blessed. I'm a native of South Minneapolis. I went to Minneapolis South High School. I never thought I was going to get into broadcasting anyway. I wanted to be in newspapers.
Wow.
Yeah. So I took a kind of a left turn at school at UW River Falls, and I ended up in the radio business. And I thought for sure, my father was convinced I was going to end up in a small market, Wisconsin, Iowa, somewhere in the upper Midwest, which would have been perfectly fine. And my first job was at KSTP AM 1500. I was
Pretty
really
good place to start.
No kidding, right? Exactly.
Well, I didn't know that. We both worked for the same boss then.
Mr. Hubbard, exactly. It was amazing. So I had the opportunity to go and work in my hometown, start in my hometown, and I'm still here, which is really a wonderful blessing.
Well, it's terrific, and we're not being solicitous here, but I told Kathy before we went on the air that I listen to her every morning because I drive my wife to work downtown every morning at
Thank
that
you.
time and hear everything. As a matter of fact, on a more personal level, your former, I guess she was your producer, Patty Ray Rudolph,
Yes.
was a dear friend to me, and actually I had worked for me. I had a music store near the IDS building when I was still on Channel 5, and she was one of my employees, but
Terrific.
just phenomenal
Consummate
broadcaster.
broadcaster. Yep,
Phenomenal.
exactly. Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I heard her obituary on your radio show that morning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We had a great team. I mean, and Eric had did you not, can I say this? Can I not? I know your show, but Eric has also had the great pleasure of being in his hometown too, being a broadcaster.
Yeah, I worked for 9 years at KDAL
Oh,
in
wow.
Duluth,
Wow.
CBS affiliate when it was TV and radio combo.
Right.
So I worked during college 4 years at KDAL, basically full time, and got to do radio and TV. And then in 1980 came down to CCO.
Now, weren't you in Ohio for one period of time?
Well, yeah, my dad worked for Gino Paolucci. Remember him,
Very, very much so.
the Chinese food and pizza king?
Of course.
Pizza rolls?
Yes.
Well, my dad worked for him, and we got transferred to Ohio when I was in grade school. But born in Duluth, went down there, came back, went to high school and college in Duluth, and then worked at KDAL for 9 years, 71 to the end of 1979, and then came down to CCO in 1980.
Did you do TV?
Oh, sure.
How did that work for you?
Fun. I had a big afro, well, Isro or whatever you'd call it.
Really?
And it would moray against the green screen.
Yeah. I used to have hair.
Well, when my hair turned gray, my barber said the follicles get thicker. And so I used to have a full head of curly hair, but it just falls flat now, so I got this shorter do.
Let the record show, of course, in TV, it's all about the hair. It really is.
That's right.
I mean, how
She
you
could
look.
report on the cure for cancer, and most of her calls would be about hair and makeup. Isn't that
That's true. Don't you? Would you agree? Well, I mean,
of course.
You know, it's just, but that's the way it is. It's a matter of how you present on TV.
That's correct.
And viewers are very cognizant of that.
Tougher for women, don't you think?
Oh yeah.
Well, was your family at all in the media?
Okay.
No.
No, my parents were mortified when they realized I switched my major to broadcast journalism in college. And I know for a fact my father thought that I was going to end up at, what did he used to say? I don't want you spinning records in some little station in Wastebasket, Wisconsin. And I said, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be in news. And they really didn't get it until I ended up at CCO TV. And they showed up at the state fair one year when I was broadcasting out there at the fair. And I think all of a sudden they realized, oh yeah, this is what she does. She's a broadcaster. You know, now we kind of get it. They never really understood the business and thought it was a harsh business and felt that I shouldn't be in it.
In what business was your father?
He was a marketing research analyst at the old Munsingware.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my mom is a nurse anesthetist.
Wow.
Right.
So far removed, well, pretty far removed anyway. Being in marketing was a little bit close. A little bit close.
Slightly.
Munsingware, of course, now the International Market Square.
Yes.
Which I can't believe.
I know.
A longtime friend of mine used to be Tom Poston, the actor, and Tom, when he would come to town, Munsingware, for whatever reason, would always give him clothes. I don't know, Tom could afford to buy Munsingware, the whole building, but they would give him clothes.
Well, Dandy Don Meredith, remember him from,
Sure.
of course, Monday Night Football. Dandy Don shot an ad that my father was involved in, and it had the Munsingware penguin, an actual penguin, which bit Dandy Don during the shooting of the ad. My dad thought that was hysterically funny. And he never got any Munsingware clothes after that. I don't know whatever happened. Clearly, that was it for Dandy Don.
I guess
Yes.
so. I guess so.
We're digressing as we go along here.
Oh,
but
we love
yes,
it.
Yeah, there you go.
This is also called the Digress Hour, or half hour anyway. Okay, so Eric, did you know from an early age that you wanted to be in broadcasting or in journalism?
November 22nd, 1963.
Oh,
5th grade, Ms. Halderman interrupts class to tell us that President Kennedy's been shot. Everybody go home. And I sat in front of that TV like this for like 70 hours, afraid to go upstairs because I was afraid Lee Harvey Oswald was upstairs. And I thought, and I watched all the TV coverage. You remember, it was saturation coverage around the clock, and it was really one of the places where TV news really came into prominence and kind of grew its importance, I think. And I just said, I want to do something like that. I wanted to be in broadcasting from really that time on. So it's really nice if you know what you want to do, because you can kind of set a path.
you really, in my opinion, you really, and everybody's opinion, really did an incredible job when you were at the state capitol. How did that morph from KDAL to all of a sudden you're the Capitol reporter for the biggest station in the state?
Well, a reporter left CCO at the end of 1979, and one of the existing reporters on the staff, Bruce Hogovic, recommended me to the news director, and I got hired. And 5 years later, the Capitol reporter Jan Falstead left to go to Montana, so I lobbied to get the job and got it, and was there for 26 years.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Wow.
it was just so much fun. I can't tell you, if you like politics and government, which I do, there's no better place to be. If you don't like politics and government, it'd be like going to the dentist for 26 years. But I happened to like it and loved it really, and I stole every minute.
I was in your office there once.
Oh no, Barry, how did you get out of it?
Well, it was hard to get into it
Oh, there's that.
because, and this is a loving compliment.
Sure.
I have never seen a wall where you couldn't see the wall. There were so many pictures and so much stuff. And I'm thinking, how do you work in this mess?
Well, I can say that many times, because we would talk about it on CCO. I did the morning show on CCO and then came over to the Capitol, so I put in like a 60-hour week.
Right.
And we talk about my office on the air in the morning, and so often tours of the Capitol would come by and want to see my office. And I had a moose head in there, and yeah, it was a conversation piece.
Yes.
Actually, I believe the fire marshal came in once.
Well, one April Fool's Day, my colleagues down there got the fire marshal to come with plant management and say that you have to shovel out your office because it's violating the fire code. And I always said it was kind of a Superfund site.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, no doubt about that.
That's funny.
I met Eric when I was at KSTP. I was their Capitol reporter.
Oh.
And our offices were across the hall. So that's how we first met.
Oh my goodness.
And really, it was fun.
Oh,
that was
it's-
honestly, it's the best free form of entertainment ever invented.
If you like the subject matter.
If you like the subject
If
matter.
you don't like the subject
Yeah.
matter, I'm sure it's painful, but I loved every minute of it. It was fantastic.
A lot of people in the audience will probably wonder if you got to be friendly with, say, the governors for whom you worked, or
you become, your job is an adversary.
Yeah.
It's an adversarial relationship, but it's cordial. It's Minnesota. Minnesota nice. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I got along fine with them. Got along professionally with them, and I think everybody knows their role. And sometimes you take a shot, and sometimes they don't like it. But I tried to be fair and objective as much as I could, and give everybody a fair shot. And I never really had a problem one way or the other with that.
I mean, it was fun to cover governors like Perpich, very interesting man, Governor Ventura. I mean, that was a beautiful mix. It melded two of Eric's most, precious loves in his life: politics and pro wrestling. And that was it really was.
Well, I was the ring announcer for the AWA for a few times in 1979 in Duluth.
I didn't know that because I did work for Vern Gagne
Well,
myself years ago.
And
Of course you
this
did.
is the incredible irony that in 1979, I was doing some ring announcing for Harvey Solon, the promoter up in Duluth, when I was still at KDAL. And Jesse Ventura is on the card, Jesse the Body Ventura. Ladies and gentlemen, he hails from Venice Beach, California. He weighs 258 pounds. And I hear a voice in the back going, "That's 278, Jack." So I had to correct it. And then the last time I did it before I went down to Minneapolis, the ring announcing, the promoter told Jesse that I was leaving. Now this is 1979, okay? He comes down and he looks over the ring and he says, "When you get to Minneapolis, remember, I made you. I made you."
Oh, I love it. That would be Jesse.
And then 20 years later, I'm covering him as governor. I mean, you couldn't make it up.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's phenomenal.
And it was fun, too.
You're working on a history of Minnesota broadcasting right now. That story should definitely be one of those.
Well, Eric's helping me. He's going to go. I'm shipping over to the Pavic Museum of Broadcasting,
Good.
and he's going to help me. And thank you.
Well, you're welcome. I'm going to be a researcher.
Yes, he's going to be a researcher.
Wow.
Now that he's retired.
Is there an
This-
honorarium involved?
There may be.
Oh,
yes,
good.
thank you.
Excellent.
Well, you know,
To McDonald.
Excellent.
two.
That's all I need.
Because yes, it's going to be quite a project. I mean, think about it. It's going to be radio and TV, commercial and public, Twin Cities and Greater Minnesota.
Well, some of the giants who have come out of Minnesota, I mean, the list is very long.
Very impressive.
When I was on Channel 11, they had me do a series about all these people who, were from Minnesota. Ironically, there were some with whom I had had some relationships long time before I ever came to the Twin Cities. And one of the more fun ones was Ann Southern, the actress.
My mother, the car.
Yes. Well, she and I was doing a little bit for Art Linkletter on his house party. I was filming him and his family in Sun Valley, Idaho. And who do I wind up with dancing one night but Ann Southern in a bar called the Boiler Room, which was the real boiler room for one of the hotels in Sun Valley. And we were, I don't drink, but you would have thought we were drunk because in lipstick, she said, "Let's, for fun, put this on the wall." And I swear, they say it's still out there. It says Ann plus Barry, true love, and a little heart, a Valentine heart around it. And I didn't know she was from Minneapolis.
Is that in the book?
No.
Okay.
That'd be-
Wait, it might be in the book. Wait, let me look.
Wait.
Well,
See,
show folks the book.
I mean,
so that-
frankly,
Oh, we will at the
It's
end.
an amazing-
I give it, what do they call it, unabashed or whatever plug at the end of every
Oh, okay,
show.
good,
if
excellent.
you're not going to worry about your career, who's going to?
That's right.
That's what I would say.
And so, folks like Barry, I mean, really, when you asked us to be on your show, we were really honored because you are a broadcast legend in Minnesota.
well, thank you
yeah,
so much.
absolutely.
Well, we were talking the other day, just at Channel 4 alone, Bob McNamara, Peterson,
I know-
Barry Peterson,
Barry Peterson.
Jerry Bowen, Susan Spencer,
Oh, yeah.
Phil Jones.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's 5 just off the top of my head of CBS correspondents.
Yes.
that
I
started
got
at
to know
Channel 4.
Jerry very well. What
Yeah.
a class act.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they were all class acts, really.
Right.
But and then Harry Reasoner, of course, was on CCO Radio.
Severide?
I got to,
Eric
yeah.
Severide?
Yeah.
Well, Eric Severide, I got to know too. As a matter of fact, my mother actually was an IRS auditor in Lower Manhattan in New York, and Eric Severide was one of her clients, and she was so cute. My mom was a tiny little lady, but she she loved Eric Severide, of
Well.
course. I got to know him much better later years, but she said there was no reason to call him back, but I made up a reason so that I could see him again. So I came down to the custom house to be audited again because my mother wanted to see him again.
There you go. Mothers, right? Exactly.
great.
I love him.
I know.
Oh, he was a giant. Absolutely. He used to be lovingly called Mount Severide at CBS.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see what this project's going to be like in terms of digging into some of the stories of the Minnesota broadcasters. I just think no one has really done the definitive the history of broadcasting in the state.
Right.
So it's a book, it'll be a book with the Minnesota Historical Society Press, and then a documentary for public television.
Mm-hmm.
So can you imagine the treasure trove, I hope,
Oh,
of video and photographs and audio?
Audio, yeah.
Oh.
I mean, some of the KSTP announcers used to be NBC network announcers. Brooks Henderson. There were a couple of others too who, when I came to this market, I had no concept whatsoever of the depth of the people who were on the air here. I mean, this was it. This was it. Well, even Randy Merriman.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, on The Big Payoff on
That's right.
CBS television, and it goes on forever.
Right.
Yeah.
And you worked with Ron Majors, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
And of course Paul at Carol 11.
At Carol 11.
Yeah, I mean those are two
Well,
big
they've
name
retired
talents.
now. Yeah.
That seems to be a thing here, this retirement thing.
Yeah.
I'm still working.
I wish I had been able to go to the Hall of Fame thing. I was inducted in 2013, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, and but you were emceeing this
I
past
did.
year.
We
Yeah.
had a great time. That was like a circus.
Weren't they throwing shoes at each other? or-
Paul Majors threw a shoe at John Hines, I believe.
Oh, really?
I mean, it's just all in jest, and it was fun. And
Sure.
yeah, it was quite the. I kind of lost control of it as the MC, but it was fun.
Have to ask, because some people, I told them you were going to be on the show, both of you, but they said, ask Eric, how did this scarf thing develop?
My mom got look at the matching to the baby blue and the baby blue
Wow.
and the black and
It's a
the
little
black.
matchy. It's a little matchy.
I mean, come on.
Wow.
Too matchy.
It's a little matchy.
Well,
but-
see, this show is only in black and
Yeah,
white.
oh,
so-
good.
Oh, never mind. I'm teasing.
My mom got me a scarf after I graduated from high school for Christmas one year. And I never had a scarf before, and we're living in Duluth, of course, and you could use a scarf. So I started, when I was doing TV, I wore it on the air a couple of times, and it just seemed to stick. And it's amazing how many people in the summer will ask me, where's your scarf? And I say, well, I just wear it like for 15 weeks in the wintertime, you know. Yeah, I just kind of, tribute to my mom.
That's marvelous. How many years have you both been doing Almanac?
Oh my gosh.
94.
It was 94. Right. I'm
1994.
glad he remembers these things. 94. But Eric's been doing
And I've
it
been
longer.
31 years I've been doing it.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, the fact that we are the longest running program of our kind in the country,
Wow.
which really is a testament to our viewers, though, too. I mean, and the brilliance of our producer, Brendan Heenahan.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy knows how to produce a show, kind of quirky, you know, but serious, you know.
I like to call it short attention span theater because each segment is 5 or 6 minutes long.
Right.
And so if you don't like that segment, it'll be over pretty soon. So then you might like the next segment. So
Just like-
I think that's the genius of the show.
Yeah, just like when you had me on, it was down to 4 minutes and 45 seconds. But I'm teasing. 4 minutes and 55 seconds.
Well,
Yes.
The good thing is when you work with a professional, he knows
Yeah, you-
all about timing.
you're watching a countdown clock.
Exactly, exactly.
And
So
I
we
was honored to be on your show. That was for
Thank
my
you.
60th anniversary in broadcasting. And that was how many years ago?
60 years.
That was about, let me think, it would have been 2003, so 14 years ago. So I've been broadcasting 74 years now. I started when I was 5 and a half on the world's first radio station, KDKA at Pittsburgh, and I'm still a Steelers fan and a Pirates fan.
Were you there when Bob Prince was the play-by-play man for the
I
Pirates?
was there when Bob Prince hadn't been hired yet. Our broadcaster for the Pirates games was a guy named Rosie Rosewell, Al Rosie Rosewell, and I'll never forget when Bob Prince came on the air about 4 years after I had started. This was 1947 when Prince started.
Yeah.
And they introduced this new guy, and I thought, why should there be a new guy? Because Rosie's doing really well. And of course he stayed on, but Prince was his kind of his color guy.
Well,
at
Prince
that
ended
time.
up in the Hall of Fame, and he
Oh,
was
yeah.
he was one of the great broadcasters of that era.
I know,
Yeah.
but I still think of him as the new guy.
The new guy,
Just like I thought of Morley Safer as the new guy on 60 Minutes.
And then who was the great Steeler radio broadcaster?
Steelers.
Next time we're on, I'll
You'll find it out.
I'll find it out and remember.
Yeah.
I'm still back on the 60 years. Actually, 75 years in broadcasting,
Yeah.
really. Do you remember, really, this is a fun business. I mean, it really is. It's changed so much.
Yeah.
You
I always
know.
call it a great job, but kind of a bad business. Because
well,
Yeah.
it-
careers
say.
can go like that in a second.
that is true. I'm fishing out here a card. Boy, can you tell that this is spontaneous. Just the
This
same.
man knows everybody.
We're among friends, so
Yeah,
no
we are.
problem.
Yeah,
Hold on.
don't mind us,
Okay.
everyone.
I'm second vice president of the Twin Cities Local of Screen Actors Guild and American Federation of Television Radio Artists, SAG-AFTRA.
Yes.
But I want you-
I was 30 years in that union.
Okay, well, I want you to see what years I've been member since what year?
1953.
1953.
That's the year I was born, Barry.
Really?
That's great.
Yeah. Well,
Wow.
I joined when I was 16 years old. It was in New York City because I was acting on a national television show called Mr. Peepers with Wally Cox and Tony Randall. Tony was like a father to me.
Wow.
And then I did the Perry Como show for 2 years, singing with the Ray Charles Singers, and
The Raylettes?
the Raylettes. No,
You know this.
no, Ray Charles with the other Ray Charles.
Oh, the other Ray
we were the
Charles.
Perry's backup group.
I get it.
And actually, our Ray, his last name was something else. He was originally from Chicago, but he was the backup. We were the backup group for all of Perry's recordings.
Oh,
and
wow.
this and that and
Wait
the
a
other.
minute. I have a question, and I should know the answer to this question, but I don't. How in the world did you go from being an actor to doing the weather on KSTP TV?
Well, I got my weather training in the Air Force, and it's all in my book. Yeah, I got my weather training in the Air Force, and it was actually, the weather was going to be a sideline just to make an income. So the weather training paid off. And I actually sent the most wild tape I could find. Bob Newhart was responsible for me getting here because he was a guest on my TV talk show in Las Vegas. And one day he said, Barry, you belong in a much bigger market, because in those days, Vegas was a very small market. This is 1970.
Okay.
And all of Clark County had 100,000 people. So now they're over 1 million. But anyway, he said, why don't you see if there's a weather job out there in Broadcasting Magazine. So, because I was doing the weather in Las Vegas. And so the next week, by golly, there was an ad. And it said, Upper Midwest television station wants personality weatherman, send tape to box such and such. Didn't know where it was. So I sent the wildest tape I could find because I had stars on the strip on my show. On
Well,
my
you had
weather
every
show.
celebrity in Vegas on your show.
Sure.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I sent them a tape where Juliette Prowse and Red Fox were on my weather show, and Robert Goulet was teasing me, and I was throwing a pie in the face of the sportscaster, and I thought, I'm going to send this thing And if they want me, they'll really want me. And by golly, a week and a half later, Ralph Dolan called me from KSTP and said, we want to talk to you because you blew everybody away. And that's how I got to the Twin Cities.
I'm telling you, I'm going to talk to Mr. Hubbard for my broadcasting project, and I'm going to ask him what he thought when he saw your tape.
Oh, that'd be great.
That would be fantastic.
Thank you.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, he and I are he's still very nice to me. I quit there for more money in Washington, D.C., and it's something I should never have done, because I've told this publicly before. He told me the last day I was at Channel 5, he said, you can stay here the rest of your life, and I'll put it in writing. I said, Mr. Hubbard, I never had a lot of money. I want to find out what it's like. Well, I found out, and it was the worst decision I ever made. So.
Well, we all have to, you always think there's possibilities, you always have to try it.
Yeah.
You have to try things.
Well, lifetime security is something that enters into it, kids.
Sure.
If you're watching, if somebody offers you a lifetime job, take it.
No one does it anymore.
Mary's Law.
Exactly. So I did not know that. Thank you for the story.
Oh, thank
Appreciate
you.
that.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
I think that's interesting. I always like to know how people, how they begin and how they get their jobs
Yep.
and
Well,
that kind of thing.
the same for you guys, how
Yeah.
you got into it. Yeah, I mean, I think it's incredible that the JFK assassination was the trigger
Yeah.
for you.
And I knew that I wanted to get into some kind of broadcasting or news or sports or something just on that weekend.
Yeah.
And I was in the 5th grade. So.
And I fell in love with it in college and happened to be an intern at KSTP, and I was hired by the great John McDougall.
Oh.
And he said, I know, don't you love Mac? And Mac was my mentor in this business, and he said, Catherine Mary, he had that voice like God,
Yes.
Catherine Mary, I think you have a future. Would you like to work for us? And I was stunned. And so I said, absolutely, absolutely. And I didn't quite graduate. I had to go back 10 years after the fact and get my diploma. But hey, it was a great first move.
That's wonderful. And John, God bless him, I talked to him literally 3 days before he died.
Oh.
And he was still on the air, and I said, how are you, John? He said, I'm not going to be here in 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe what I was hearing.
Yeah.
How do you say anything to anybody like that? Well, it's incredible.
He was a great teacher.
Well, we have about a minute, or actually 30 seconds. I just want to thank you so much for taking the time.
Our pleasure.
What an honor.
Well,
Pleasure.
we're flattered
Thank
you
you.
asked us. Thanks, Barry.
Yeah.
My honor.
You're a
my pleasure.
legend.
Well, thank you, but the same to you. I never feel that way, believe me, but thank you.
Now tell us about the book.
Well, yeah, it's called My Life Among the Giants, and endorsed, I'm proud to say, by former Vice President Mondale, also my friend Sam Donaldson, who's now living in Albuquerque. And Sam, if you're watching, you can watch this on YouTube, you know. We always want to give you a plug. But it's been an incredible life, and my dear friend Jerry Stiller is the one who urged me to write the book, and right at the top it says, thank you, Jerry Stiller, for urging me to write this book. He said, Barry, you've lived 4,000 lives. People need to know.
Of Stella and Mira?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Wow.
This man knows
So-
everybody.
So,
I know it.
and poor Ann Mira, long gone now, but, well, thank you so much for watching, and thank you, Kathy Wurzer, Eric Escala, and thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.